By now, you've probably heard my magic wand story. It's a brand that's been part of my personal journey for more than 20 years. But no matter how many times I sing Magic Wand's praises, I'll never be able to fully capture the story of this incredible brand. Well, now journalist and author Kate Sloan just completed a limited audio series documenting the history and impact that Magic Wand has created over the last 56 years. It's called Making Magic. And the series chronicles Magic Wand's incredible brand story through interviews with nearly 40 experts, performers, business owners, educators, and fans. So I got a sneak preview of the series, and what I loved is that Kate weaves together snippets from all their interviews into this amazing story arc. She covers Magic Wand's journey from appliance store massager to its legendary influence on culture and sexual independence, and it's all just fascinating. The first episodes of Making Magic are available now at makingmagicseries.com or on all popular podcast platforms. Just search for Making Magic or visit makingmagicseries.com today.
I think a good kisser is not just being wimpy and mouth wide open, do anything to me. It's like an exchange.
That's because it's always amazing in the beginning, or you wouldn't be with somebody. Like, that's what gets you hooked.
My 10-year-old daughter is no longer a virgin. This guy broke up with her, so she's heartbroken. I just want to be able to talk to her, and I don't really know what to say.
You're listening to Sex with Emily. I'm Dr. Emily, and this July, we are celebrating sexual liberation. A part of that for us means reclaiming the sex life you want, how to build your self-confidence in and out of the bedroom, finding new ways to communicate with your partner, especially around who initiates, and how to focus on enjoying the moment instead of your performance. Find me Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific on SiriusXM Stars for even more sex talk, calls, and interviews. Also, follow me on social media. I'm at Sex with Emily on Instagram and Twitter, where I'm always posting the best tips and tricks to help improve your sex life. We'll get into that and more. Stay with us.
Look into his eyes. They're the eyes of a man obsessed by sex. Eyes that mock our sacred institutions. Bedroom eyes, they call them in a bygone day.
Dr. Jennifer Freed is here. She's a best-selling author of Use Your Planets Wisely. Her book, it was really one that just demystified astrology for me altogether. She's a renowned psychological astrologer. She is incredible. We love her. JenniferFreed.com. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
I feel like I wish I could see you every day and it would make my day better, Emily. So I'm just always glad to just lay eyes on you and hear your voice.
This is how I feel. I feel like I have this whole jolt to my system right now. Like I feel like everything's good. I feel calm. I'm happy you're here. Jen, there's a lot to unpack. First off, is there anything you can tell us about being mindful? Like what is, it's such a buzzword, in the last whatever few years. But right now, for me, I know being mindful has helped me so much, especially during COVID. Not a lot's changing. I'm home all the time and really paying attention to what I need, what I want around me, who I want to talk to, what's important. But how would you talk about it, Jen?
Well, mindfulness for me is a lifelong, everyday practice. It's simply about coming back to the present. I have a monkey mind, like we all do, that's racing and chasing after the past, the future, anywhere but here. And mindfulness for me is taking that breath and saying, here, now. I'm right now with Emily. There's nothing else to do. And I find that when I take that moment to reset, I'm way more engaged with my life because my mind is an endless labyrinth of getting nowhere. Honestly.
It's true. It's that moment where, and for me, it's you can do it all day, every day. Like I literally do. I'm like, back to the present, back to the present. If you have to do it 100 times, you realize that, when you're in your head, you're either in the past or the future. But the second you go, okay, I'm going to be present, you realize everything that's in front of you.
It's the most challenging sometimes when I'm intimate or sexual to be present because I want to be present more than ever in that activity. And the mind's still with me, and I've got to go, wait a second, don't cheat me out of this moment. This is one of my favorite moments in life. It's not a given that just because you're having hot sex, you're going to be present. So that's even a time to be mindful.
So what's a good tip for you to be mindful in those moments?
Well, I'm highly sensuous with a Taurus moon, as you have that too, Emily. So what I do is close my eyes and feel the sensation. I say, what's the biggest sensation going on right now? And usually it's kissing. So for me, it's like, feel the lips, feel the heat, feel the taste, smell. And I get really turn back into the body, luscious body instead of the mind. Go lower, not higher in this case.
Yeah, that's a really good tip, because focusing on the senses, what you feeling and smelling and tasting in the moment, hearing, it just grounds you. You can't be anywhere else but in that moment. And kissing, I'm glad you brought up kissing, Jen, because it is International Kissing Day.
It's my
favorite. We're going to have some kissing stuff coming up for you as well. What to do if you haven't kissed in a while. How to make that great. Get over some anxieties and fears you might have around kissing, because that happens too. What do we need to know right now, Jen? Last time you mentioned that 2020 was a year of tremendous astrological significance. So what has changed lately? I know Mercury's also in retrograde.
So the big thing that's going on, and then I can get into each sign, but what we've got going right now is Sun and Mercury in the sign of Cancer, which is a water sign, and it's all about very sensitive feelings and easily wounded feelings and very strong nurturing feelings. And it's squared, meaning in a creative tension with the planet Mars, which is about action. And Mars is in its home sign of Aries. And that means people want to act and they want to do it now and they want results. And it goes a little abrasively against people's sensitivities. So what I was saying to you on the break is the word for the month is be thoughtful instead of hasty. Be thoughtful instead of hasty. It doesn't mean don't do your big action that you want to do or have the conversation you want to have, but back down before you go forward. Take 10 before you speak, because odds are if you're going to go after it without consideration, you're probably going to harm or hurt people accidentally.
That's good advice. That is good advice. It's always good whenever I pause on something or I think, is this the right thing to send or the right thing to say? That's also been a practice to really stop and say, if you're doubting it and you're not sure, take a beat, take a pause. Maybe it's not worth saying right now.
So let me run through the signs, just a little tip for being sexually wise this month in the heat of July. So first of all, we start with Aries. And Aries, you've got to know you're hotter than ever right now. You're singeing, burning hot. So cool down a bit before you aggress or demand anything. Instead, get more irresistible with your own inner charisma. Taurus, you want to go slow and chill. You're the understated one this month. You want to bring people to you through your sultry and very innocent way of bringing people into your lair. Gemini, this is your month to know that you're lovable, that you're believable, and that what you want is what you get. And so you've got to be very clear. What is it you want? Because you might get way too many offers if you're not decisive. Cancer, this is your month to be treated better than you've ever been treated, which means, yes, give the way you always give, but ask for a little more and people will be happy to give it to you. Leo, this is your month to have those dynamic, passionate conversations, whether it's distance or in person, that turn you on and make you feel like you can be an endless orgasm machine. Virgo, this is your month to be caring, careful, and then a planned hedonism. So instead of just being really loose or really tight, say, we're going to wait till Friday and then just go bonkers, and that will be great. Libra, it's your turn to be okay with not getting as much of what you want, but listening more deeply to what other people want and getting even more expert at giving just enough that you still get your fair share. Scorpio, you are having a month of having to restrain and innovate. So you're going to be a little pushed in, like you don't want to have to wait. But if you innovate, you can have tremendous sexual breakthroughs this month. So don't get into your habits, get into your vision of what sex could be. Sagittarius, it's time for rompy romp. Get really frisky, but also realize that you have to find good play areas, safe play areas. So don't run roughshod over anybody else, but let them know you're ready and willing to do whatever fantasy they want within reason. And Capricorn. Capricorn, this month for you is about knowing you are more powerful than you've ever believed. Don't let anyone ever make you feel insecure this month. Just get very centered, call forth that exquisite sexual power, and let people really remember how valuable you are as a lover and a friend. And Aquarius, you want to use your extraordinary charm and kinkiness to lure people into new ideas of what sexuality can be. And finally, Pisces, ultra sensitive again this month. But what you can ask for is time out. You need some time out to be with yourself. Remember what a hot and sweet lover you are, and then have somebody bake something for you before you get into bed with them. That's the astrology forecast for this month.
That's the Astro-Sex Forecast. Those are brilliant, Dr. Jennifer Freed. She's here with us every month giving you your Astro-Sex Forecast. Where else do you get that? Nowhere else. So well done.
Well,
Really, Jen. Thank you. I mean, super helpful. Get us all started on the right foot. Even if you, I don't know, Jen, I feel like in knowing you and reading your things that you have helped demystify it. But even if you get something out of that, like you heard your sign and you're thinking, okay, you know what? I probably should ask for more in my relationship. Figure out what I want. Take a bath. I mean, I think there's something in here for everybody. We like to be specific rather than just saying something generally. I need to fix my sex life. Those are all such good tips. Thank you, Jen.
I did want to say something about the kissing, which is this. When I was young, all I wanted to do was kiss boys. And I thought about it day in, day out. And so I practiced kissing my pillow so much. Different ways of kissing, different ways. And I actually think it made me a great kisser because I spent a lot of, it's like anything you put a lot of effort into. And I was just very convinced that kissing was where it was at. Now, mind you, it was 5th and 6th grade, but still, it was a vocation. I was going to be a good kisser. And I would say, my partner would tell you, I'm a pretty good kisser.
You're a good kisser. What makes a good kisser, Jen?
I think a good kisser is being in response to what you're receiving, but not just being wimpy and mouth wide open, do anything to me. It's like an exchange. It's like a relationship itself. You're giving to me, I'm giving to you. You like this, I like this. It's that meshing of interest, but more than anything, it's a passion for kissing. I mean, back in the day, I was with people that didn't like kissing. That's a deal breaker for me, just me, erotically.
Yes.
But people that love kissing, like when I was young, I could spend hours kissing and it was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, I agree. It's like sometimes kissing goes in these long-term relationships and we just don't like work on it and bring back the kissing, maybe because it's so intimate. But I've thought about that, being a good kisser, because it is kind of like a dance too. You're kind of following each other's mouths back and forth. What is like a playful kissing tip that you have? Something that we might not think about. Like when you say you're giving and taking, are you like nip?
Yes, I like a little nibble. A little nibble, but I've been known to be a little bitey. Don't do that. Okay. But I think a little nibble and a little nose rubbing. Don't make it all about the mouth. The whole face is so luscious, and we forget the kiss can be like all over and then back to the mouth. And I just think kissing is just the most free way to say, I'm crazy about you.
Absolutely.
It's so dear. And passionate and sexy.
And it's intimate too. I mean, I was trying to figure out why we'd stop kissing. And it's like, I think we think we don't need to, or we rush right through to other kinds of sex because we think, I don't know, we don't, but when we first start dating someone, it's all about that. And so I think today in International Kissing Day that try something different, bring back the kissing. And it's very like connecting and intimate. Thank you, Jen, for that. That's so what else is going on? Tell us this year. I know that's a big question.
There's a lot going on, and people keep asking me because, as my friend Marla said today, every day these days in the news should be a list of, you couldn't believe this is happening. I mean, really, every single day. And what I'm telling people astrologically is the hits are going to keep coming. It's going to be, can you frickin' believe this? And then it will be the next one. And it just means that all of us have to really do a self-check on our integrity, because we're going to either add in to the horror show, or we're going to add in to the revival of love and inclusion. And I think that each of us has a spark in us that wants to see this all work out for everybody. I really believe that. Deep down, I think there's a kernel of each of us, just like we'd love to make love with the whole world if there was no rules. I'd like the whole world to fall in love. And I think it's possible when everybody just takes a breath and gets off their position just slightly enough to hear, what is that other human being's experience? It's so important to be curious instead of imperious.
I guess you can cultivate curiosity as a trait or a skill set, but if you think you're someone who's more of an introvert or you're not great with people, ask questions. Get curious about people's experience. And that's such a great point whenever you're maybe even having an argument or having something going on. Think about what could they be experiencing? You know, sometimes we just go into, oh, you're wrong or you're stupid. It's like, no, but could you see? Ask questions. It's always what you do.
Yeah, the axiom I go by is you can be close or you can be right, but you can't be both. Because no one I've ever met loves a know-it-all, and no one I've ever met feels close to somebody that has to be right. It just doesn't happen. You get power, but you don't get intimacy.
That's so true, Jen. I've had those people in my life, and it's so frustrating. You just think, how do you not see that they're, first off, who says what is right anyway? But there's, my side, your side, and what's right or what's true, whatever, of three sides of every story. But that's also a skill. I love that you said that too. Such a skill set, learning how to listen. I'm just thinking about people in my life like that I just had to cut. I cut the people who always think they're right.
It's not a two-way conversation. When somebody needs to be right, it's a monologue. It's a one-way conversation in which you either comply or there's no conversation. And compliance is not interest. It's just submission. And in sex, you can decide you want to dominate and submit. But in intimacy, that's not a good equation.
No. And you have to talk about all of these things. Jen, what do we need to know about? I mean, are you over Mercury in retrograde? Like, do I have to worry about it? Do we have to?
I think
Tell me what we have to know.
Well, Mercury, when it's in retrograde, you're just always being tricked by things going awry, like communications that shouldn't go to that person, or this machine broke down. So I think when Mercury's retrograde, you have to think Cosmos is playing a giant trick on all of us that think the way we do things has to go the way we want. And instead, we get all kinds of interference. And I think it's just a beautiful meditation bell. Bing, not going your way. Pause, be grateful, redirect yourself. So that's still going to go on for the next 10 days or so. Yeah.
What about the thing about not signing communications or doing anything, committing to things like that? Is that not?
That's not true. That's not true. However, I say Mercury retrograde is the trick of three. If you look at your email 3 times before you send, if you look at the contract at least 3 times, not only could it be a really good thing, but it's probably going to be a better thing than the way we normally do things, which is off the cuff. So Mercury retrograde just means you have to be way more conscientious and reflective and careful, and then things can go quite well.
I feel so much more set now. I feel like I'm ready to face the world now, at least the rest of the month. Thank you, Jen. This was so helpful. Truly, truly, truly. We love having you here. Is there anything else we need to know to be on the lookout for?
Grounded mindfulness. And again, I think your show is so important because I think sex is our freedom zone. Our imagination is the only thing in the world that's totally free. No one can take it over. So I think this is a great month when everything else seems chaotic to really invest in your sexuality and find new imagination and new play and new kissing, because that's yours. No one controls it but you.
Right. You don't have to wait for anything. That's so true, Jen. I mean, right now, a lot of our freedoms are being taken away. That's why we're calling it Sexual Liberation Month here at Sex with Emily. What can we do that's a little bit different that we haven't tried before? I mean, we could do these at home, right? If you have a partner, we can't leave. There's no fireworks, all the things are different this year. But that's something we can invest in and put time into. Intimacy, connection, sex, kissing on International Kissing Day.
After all, if you haven't played with gloves and masks before, now's the time.
Masks can be sexy. Gloves can surgical play. That's like one of the top fantasies. One of the top 5 role plays, right? Be the doctor, the patient. We have to be wearing it anyway. Yeah. Outdoor sex. Have fun with it. I don't know. I just think of all the years I've been doing this, and people always want to know, we don't have time and there's no time for sex, or they don't want it. I hope everyone's sorting it out right now, or actually putting that time in, because we've had 100 days.
Yeah, actually, I never buy I don't have time, because if anyone ever, including me, had a little monitor on time wasting, there'd be at least 4 hours a day, at the end of the day where I was just doing something I didn't need to do. And that all could have gone into like love making. So come on.
Exactly. The times that you're scrolling, the times you're on Facebook, if you just say, I want 20 more minutes out of this, we always have time. We all have 24 hours in a day. And the thing about prioritizing your pleasure and prioritizing your sex life is that fills you up. I mean, that is a time that, it's good for you. It's healthy. A lot of us are missing touch. We're missing connection. It's going to help your mood. It's going to help your spirit. Having an orgasm helps with, pain. It helps you with pain relief and all the feel-good hormones that come with just touching and kissing and cuddling. That's free. That's available.
I wish they had commercials on TV, instead of all of the pain medicine. This orgasm. No, try this orgasm. 20 orgasms. You don't even need to buy our product.
Talk to your doctor. If orgasm lasts more than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great. Why not interspersed? I'll buy some media on the channels. I think that's amazing, Jen. Okay, Dr. Jennifer Freed. That's where we find you. drjenniferfreed.com. Anything else after Jennifer at Dr. Jennifer Freed on Instagram?
Yes, and buy my book, Use Your Planets Wisely, and keep in touch, because I really like the conversation and the company, and I'm a huge fan and friend of Emily, and you're all incredibly lucky to have her as your lead, is what I feel.
Oh, Jen, I'm so grateful to have you as my friend, my inspiration. And you've been a joy. I mean, always since I've known you, but even like during COVID, you've been like this bright spot when we get to connect and we get to talk on the show and off the show. So thank you for your friendship and love. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. Thank you, Dr. Jennifer Freed. Stay tuned for more Sex with Emily. Let's talk to Robin, 45, in California. Hi, Robin. Thanks for calling.
Hi.
Hi. Tell me what's going on. Of course.
I just found out my 15-year-old daughter, she admits to me that she's no longer a virgin from this guy that just broke up with her. So she's kind of heartbroken. But I'm glad that she is talking to me about this and letting me know that, she has experienced this. I just want to be able to talk to her, and I don't really know what to say.
Okay. Yeah, Robin, great question. I mean, thank you so much for calling about this. I know it can be kind of, alarming. So tell me about your history talking to your daughter about sex. Have you ever had any conversations with her about it before, about sexuality?
Not really. I mean, that's the kind of person I am now. I want her to have what I didn't have. But situationally, long story short, she lives with her dad most of the time right now.
Right. Okay. Well, what a great opportunity. No, I'm just asking, Robin, let me tell you something. You're like 99.9% of parents right now. Even people who are very, who are like, we talk about everything. It's hard, Robin. So I would just be really honest with your daughter and say, I want to be here for you and talk to you about it. It's uncomfortable for me too. My mom never talked to me about sex. I mean, whatever your history is, I'm going to assume that your parents probably didn't talk to you about it either, like most of us. And just say, I'm here for you. I think the important thing to talk to our kids about is that sex is about our pleasure, and it's teaching her about advocating for her own needs. You can ask her if she's masturbated before, if she has pleasure. You could ask her if she wants to talk to you about her experience. And I just think we got to be careful about not shaming her and, I'm sure you wouldn't, but I'm just saying sometimes we do that. Yeah. And she's just going to be waiting to see what you say. So I think rather than just saying, I thank you for being honest, praise her for being honest and for coming to you and that you are here for her. And how was it? You could ask her questions. How was the sex? Did it feel good? What did you do? Did you like it? Oh, interesting. I mean, a lot of you will listen, you can get research together, listen to my podcast. I do a lot of shows about how to, sex education and stuff. But really, it's I think meet her where she's at. And she probably doesn't have a lot of information right now. And she's probably just looking for you to listen. And it's okay to ask questions and just kind of figure it out together. I don't think you do it wrong.
I found a little clitoral stimulator in her bag. And I don't know where she got it. I mean, so that just tells me she's a little bit more into it than I knew, It's self-stimulating.
Okay. So, honestly, I think that's great. To be honest, I mean, I get that's as a mother, it's like, what? But I love that she knows about her pleasure. And I love that she is taking, care of her needs. We think. I mean, maybe a friend gave it to her. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I think it sounds like she maybe she knows, maybe she could teach you stuff, we're always learning from each other. Like, do you know what I'm saying, Robin? I think that the more honest and real we are with our kids and say, listen, this is new for me too. When I grew up, tell her stories. Like when I grew up, it was like so shamed and taboo and we never talked about it. And it's still this way today. And I don't want to be that kind of mom to you. So I support you. I obviously talked about, safety and using protection. And that's really the most, the problem is, Robin, the information that most kids get if they had sex education in schools, which most don't, it's all about safety, right? And it's about abstinence. It's about don't get an STD, don't get pregnant, fear-based, right? There's never anything about pleasure and consent and advocating for what we want. And women's pleasure, right? We're also told it's all about PV sex if you're heterosexual, right? Intercourse or penetration. And so I think if she's exploring herself, like you could be honest with her, maybe, and just talk about it. I think that that's okay that you're not the expert. My friends' kids, I spent this whole COVID, Robin, talking to my friends' kids who are like your daughter's age, 15 through 17.
Yeah.
They call, ask questions. That's, people don't know. Like my friends in Michigan and everywhere. So just go easy on yourself. And if you can, and you could just be honest, listen. Is that helpful, Robin?
Yeah, I learned a lot late in life that I want to give to them so that they don't have to go through the years of things that I went through with sexless marriages and, husbands who are abusive to you because you didn't give them enough blowjobs and, things like that. I don't want her to experience that. So I want her to know, and I think she's beyond where I was at that age for sure. She's got a toy already.
Well, right. How great. And hopefully she uses it. Like maybe her boyfriend gave it to her and she didn't use it. We don't know yet, but I would ask her and I would tell her that. I would say I was in a marriage because I had friends that were told that too, Robin. They're like, always give a blowjob or always say yes. And it's like, no, what about your pleasure and your arousal? And I think the more we teach our daughters about self-love and advocating for themselves and pleasure, she's going to be so much better off, Robin. She's going to have so many better tools. So it sounds like you know what to do here. Tell her what you learned, what didn't work for you, have her ask questions. And then remember this, Robin.
She's mature enough in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Just remember it's not a one-time conversation. In fact, you might find that it's actually, maybe it'll be awkward for a few minutes, but it might be a new conversation that you'll be having, like talking about her grades and talking about, sex. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see it being talked about like we talk about everything else that's important with our families.
I do too.
Our kids. Well, I'd love to hear how it goes, Robin. I'll be here for you every night. You can call me back, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love your show.
Thanks, Robin. So good to hear from you. Have a great night. Thanks for calling. We are going to take a break, but I just want to say this, you guys. It's really important to have these conversations with your family, with your kids. And the more we start talking about practice, it's a muscle. Let's talk about sex education. It's important. All right, I'm Dr. Emily. This is Sex with Emily. Have a great show ahead for you, so stick around. All right, let's talk to Jim, 61 in Colorado. Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling. What's going on?
Hi, Dr. Emily. Love your show and ran across you on the way home from the gym. So hopefully you can give me some advice before I make this call. The lady that I've only had sex with twice is 41, and once was last September, and it was lovely. And then she moved from here to another state, and visited her at the beginning of June. And she texted me the other day to say she's pregnant. And we need to talk about what to do in the situation. And my initial thought before we have that conversation is I'd be 80 before this young person got out of high school.
Yeah.
I don't know that it would be fair to this baby to have it. Just wanted to get some of your thoughts.
Jim, it's a big one. My thoughts are...
Yeah.
I think that you're going to have your thoughts. I understand that. I understand your thoughts. What's her thoughts? Has she had kids before?
She hasn't. And we texted yesterday. We're going to talk about it tonight. And like I say, I tuned across you on the way home from the gym. It's like, I'll ask Dr. Emily.
Ask me what
I'm kind of torn about it. I love babies. I love little kids, but I'm at this age now.
Right. That's true. So you're actually okay with it. Like, have you had kids before, Jim?
I have not.
Wow.
But they're great. But if I'd been able to find the right partner many years ago, I should be a grandfather by now. But unfortunately, I'm not. And like I say, this lady and I have just been kind of off and on for couple years and more off than on. And
Wow.
I say she moved last year, and I visited for a couple days last month, and didn't think of the condoms that I had with me.
Wow. Wait, so what's her feelings? So does she want the baby?
Don't know yet. We haven't.
You haven't even talked about it.
Texted me day before yesterday. Yeah.
She told you over a text?
Yeah.
How? I got to call tomorrow. Let me know how it goes.
To what I should be, yeah.
Oh, wow. Jim, this is a lot. I mean, I feel like you have to listen, have a conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
If she wants to have the baby, she's going to have the baby, and you're going to be the father whether you like it or not.
Correct.
So there's really nothing you could do right now except for probably listen. And I don't know her, obviously, but if you say something like, I think you have to be honest about your feelings, that you wish that, but is your only concern that you wouldn't be around for the kid? But do you feel like she's someone you could be with, this woman? Could you move in together? Would you want to raise the child?
That's my second feeling / problem is that, we get along, but we've never been like crazy in love with each other or anything like that.
Right.
That's, I think, the other complication.
Yeah, and she doesn't live there anymore either. So she might want your financial support.
Yeah.
I think that you just have to listen and you can voice your concerns, but I don't know if she's giving you on the phone. She's like, I'm having this baby. It might not matter what you think, but I think, you have to have a conversation. You have to have a dialogue about it.
Right.
Listen.
And she didn't say anything firm like that on the text, just that, that she was and we need to talk about it. And it's like, yeah, we do need to talk about it.
I wonder if she's waiting to see what you're going to say, figure out what I think it's important for you to think about what do you want right now in your life, really? Not her, but like what's important to you?
Okay.
What do you really want? Not trying to appease her. You're talking to me. Like what truly? Is there a party that's excited? Are you partially excited, partially terrified? Are you like, no way, I definitely don't want it? Like what does Jim want?
I'm mostly on the terrified end, yeah. I say this late life factor is, if it was, 10, 15 years ago, whole different ballgame. Like I say, concerned about the fact that we haven't really been a couple.
Well, I wouldn't rush into being a couple now.
My actual girlfriend.
Those are all the concerns. And she probably has those same concerns too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that this will probably be a ongoing conversation, unless she just calls and says, I'm doing it. I've always wanted a baby. This is happening. But hopefully it'll be a conversation. So those are all valid things. And I think there's nothing wrong with telling her that it scares you. Anyone would be like terrified. And I can't believe you waited 2 days. I would be like, we got to talk now. You've been sitting on this for 2 days. She says I'm pregnant. You're going to the gym. God, I'd be like, we got to talk. So I just feel like you got to listen.
She said you couldn't talk yesterday. So hopefully it's this evening. Yeah.
Again, you got to gather some information. I don't think you have to be supportive, but also you can state your part and say, I'm terrified for all the reasons you told me. Listen, honesty is important. And just saying, we've been lovers for a few years and I don't, but she's not really, has she ever wanted more than you did? Has she ever said, like, I wish we were together more, wanted more from you? Or has it been kind of equal?
It's been pretty equal. And she was actually involved with somebody else before we met.
It's just been casual. It probably still is.
Yeah,
Listen.
It's been casual, yeah.
Yeah, no one's asking you to move in with her, you that doesn't sound like that would be a good idea, whether, in any way, because you're not there with her. So I just think you got to listen.
Right.
Maybe you got to write things down. Okay. Sometimes when I'm nervous, I have conversations, I'll just make sure that I listen. I'm like in front of a computer taking notes and just kind of let her, it's okay to say I have to think about it and see what she says. It might surprise you. We don't know yet, but I think it's also okay to say it really scared me. I don't know what to think. There's a lot, like I'm 61, right. I've gone this far without a kid. My life is pretty set, So
right, exactly.
But I think it's okay to be honest and compassionate.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. Let me know. I'll be here tomorrow. Will you let me know how it goes?
Sure will.
All right, Jim. We'll be here. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Thanks for calling. Thank you. This is what I like about the show is that we can when I always say I help you take the next step. Literally, you can call me tonight and say, oh, this is what I want to ask my partner to do something, or should I break up with someone? And then you can call back tomorrow. I can tell you what to say next, what to do next. I can advise you. We can have a chat. Wow, that is quite a text to get. I'm just thinking about so many friends in their early 40s are dying to get pregnant or couldn't get pregnant. And then you get pregnant and you're like, they're friends with benefits. What do you do? But I think it's important to just be honest, be vulnerable, and listen. It's a vulnerable place for both of them. All right, guys. So this is from Cody, 28 in Indiana. Hey, Dr. Emily, I have an amazing wife, but we hit a roadblock in sexual compatibility. When we first got together, she was always wanting sex, very kinky, very willing to try new things. I came out to her a few years ago that I was bi, and that's when she just shut down and became vanilla. Sex was always a taboo subject for her, and she really has a hard time opening up. And I'm having a hard time staying poly for her. I have needs that she doesn't understand, though, and I try to help her. In the past, she's brought up that she'd like to try a threesome, but now is telling me she has no desire, and that was to keep me happy, so I would stay with her. I'm at a point where things seem and feel hopeless. I have many fantasies. She's aware, but not willing at all to help fulfill those. What can I do? Is there a way I can turn her back to her old ways? All right, Cody, there's a lot going on here packed into this. So first you're saying that you let her know you were bi. Before that, you guys were kinky and you were doing other things and maybe talking about threesomes. But the thing that's confusing here is that you said that she was really open before, but the second you told her that you were bi, she shut down. And I feel like if she wasn't open before and sex is still taboo to her, my sense is that when you brought up you were bi to her, it might have been confusing. It could have been threatening. She might not have understood what that actually meant. Does it mean that you're going to be, with other people, or you could fall in love with someone else? I don't know what went through her head. So sometimes it's like, I love that you told her and that you have, open communication. But we have to also remember, and this is important, when we're having a conversation about intimacy with a partner, about something we want or a fantasy, we have to really take it slow and we have to unpack it. We have to say, this is why I have this fantasy, and this is what it's about for me, and this is what it means to me, and this is what it could mean for us, because they just might not have all the details. That's why you always say you can't go from 0 to threesome. You can't tell your partner, I think we should have a threesome, and let's bring your friend in. That's not going to work. And so I feel like it really is hard to deal with a partner that will not talk or open up about sex. That is what talk about here every single night. I mean, how many of you have a partner where you try to bring it up and they won't talk about it? And a lot of you also have the story like Cody. It was amazing in the beginning. Everything was great. And now it's not. That's because it's always amazing in the beginning or you wouldn't be with somebody. That's what gets you hooked. You're like, the sex and everything's great and there's no problems. Let's get married. Let's be together forever. And then you're like, oops, there's problems. I wish we could all just learn to accept the fact that is what happens. There's challenges that come up in every relationship. So going back to you, Cody, you're not going to turn her back to her old ways, because I'm going to say that maybe, first of all, there's never any going back, but there's a getting to know where she's at now and getting to the root of what's really going on with her. Now, if she was truly authentically kinky before, because you said she's kinky, but she's also thinks sex is taboo. So I'm a little bit confused about where she is here on the spectrum, but I would just put all that aside and say, I really want to talk about the importance of prioritizing our pleasure. How can we both be the best lovers to each other, figure out what we're into, our expectations, and have healthy conversations around it. And just remember, it is not a one-time conversation, Cody. All right, find me Monday through Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific on SiriusXM Stars for even more awesome sex talk, calls, and segments. It's a great time. You can find more at sexwithemily.com/SXM. Also follow me on all social media, Sex with Emily across the board, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Was it good for you? Email me feedback@sexwithemily.com.